Hello guys, welcome to another episode of the Lazy Medic. And for some of you who took JAM this year, you probably had a desired course you filled in. And maybe if you're like me, when I was taking JAM, you filled in for medicine, you filled in for the dream course, for the dream goal, right? Reality check, reality hit, and the score you thought you were gonna have was not what you were given. So let's say you came out of the exam hall and you had an expectation that after the exam you're gonna have a score of about 320, and reality hit. Your exam score was way off what you imagined would be the score when they released the result. This brings me to the question that students who apply for medicine or for any high professional course usually ask: can I get this course with a score of this? But I'm going to be narrowing it down to medicine. Now, there is this thing where you are told that if you have a score of less than 300, don't bother applying, just take JAMB again. And it's a very disheartening statement because you may have labored all throughout the JAMB preparatory period and not having a score that did not reflect the amount of effort you put into preparing for JAMB. And so you have this question: can I still apply for medicine? Well, the truth is yes. The JAMB that got me to medicine, my score was not exceptionally great. It was not above 300. I didn't even hit 290. I had a score of 286. And I remember one event, and that really affected me in preparing for post GME. My friend and I were reading late in the evening, and a guy that had been reading there came and asked us, are you preparing for post GME? I said yes. He asked, what course are you going for? Of course, I smiled and said medicine. Yeah. Then he asked me what was my JAMB score. I told him 286. And in all sincerity of heart, he told me to just apply for a different course. I should not just bother, that I did not want to be disappointed. I did not want a case where I apply for medicine. I mean, I put in all this work, all this labor, and then I'm giving a course like microbiology. And he was being sincere. He also shared his own experience that when he was preparing for post TMB, that if he had known, he would have applied for a different course, seeing that the JAMB score was less than 290 also. And he left. That statement did not just go with him leaving the scene. No, he actually stayed with me. I don't know about my friend, but actually stayed with me. And I was a bit scared. And I started continuing other options. Am I wasting my time applying for medicine with a JAMB score of 296? I mean, I'm usually having a score of below 290. And whereas there are people that had scores of 320, 350, I don't get accepted into medicine. 5 tips on applying for medicine with a low JAMB score. Number 1, the mindset. The fact that you had a score that was less than 300 does not totally rule out the chances of you getting into medicine. It is true that a score of 220 and above is going to be a real advantage to you because when you divide your JAMB score by 8, that's already 40. So you know that in your post-TME, you just have to target at least 75. And having an average of 75, you having a post-TME score of 35 over 50 or 70 over 100. So that indeed is a real advantage. It actually lessens the amount of labor you have to put into preparing for post-TME. Although you may not have that advantage, it does not rule out the chances of you getting into medicine. So you must have that mindset and see the discouragement that people tell you as a motivation to spur you up to put in more effort in preparing for a post-TME. There is a statement that says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? Although they may be sincere and want the best for you, doesn't mean that it's always right. But the catch is this: you have to put in a lot of effort. I mean, you have to put in so much effort into preparing for a post-TME. You have to labor like you've never done before. You have to read like you've never done before, if indeed you are considering going for medicine or getting that dream course. Number 2, the amount of work you need to put in preparing for post-TME. Now, you know you have a JAMB score of about, let's say, 240, and you're applying for medicine, and you have a friend that has a JAMB score of 310 applying for medicine. Although when the scores are divided by 8, there may not be so much of a difference Common wisdom advice will tell you that the amount of work you are going to put in preparing for this exam is not going to be the same with this guy that had 210, because the scores already differentiate you. Your friend is already at an advantage. If that friend says he's going to read 5 hours every day and prepare for post GME, and you're writing the same post GME, it is more advisable that you think of putting double. If he says he's going to put in 5 hours, think of putting in 10, because the score doesn't exactly favor you compared to that friend. So you have to double, even triple if possible, the amount of effort you put in, and you have to be intentional. And then rush everything within 1 month. Don't try to rush everything within 1 month, within a few weeks or a few days. No, considering the fact that your score was low, you want to give time to prepare for the exam. Typically, I would advise that you gave 3 months in preparing for the exam, but due to some circumstances, you may not be able to give that amount of time preparing for the exam. But on the safe side, I would advise that you give that much amount of time of consistent labor, of consistent hard work. That is just the only way to do it. Applying to a different university that does not take post TME. I do not wish to sound like someone who is against your dream of studying medicine in a particular university, but it is in your best interest if you consider other options. So you may apply for a federal university and a state university for the same course, and based on the university that actually offers you medicine or that dream course, you pick that university. That is another approach. Although it may not have been your first choice university, but if that's your dream, I think you should still go for it. And also, the universities that don't take post TME, so you have to widen your range of options, not just one particular university. Rather, consider these other universities. Does this university take post TME? If they don't use post TME as a means to screen people, I can apply for this university. Alternate number 4, alternative exam. There are alternative exams you can take instead of JAM applying for medicine. Among these exams include JUPEB or direct entry. So it's possible that your JAM score was not too high and you're applying for medicine. You can choose to take an alternative exam. The truth is that it doesn't matter the exam that got you into medicine. Why do we prefer JAM? Because JAM is cheaper, it's less stressful, but there are other alternatives you can consider, such as JUPEB. I have friends who got into medicine through JUPEB, who got into dentistry also through JUPEB. It's not the end of the world if your score was not high. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a bad medical student later on or a bad doctor if you did not get in through JAM. No. So consider these other options. Now, these exams may be more costly. That's the thing. But if it's your goal, it's worth it. If it's your goal, put in the effort. Now we're making the sacrifice. The next point is going for a different course. Some departments allow interdepartmental transfer, such that even if this was not the department you initially applied for, you change your first course choice to maybe pharmacy or nursing. Some schools allow you to transfer from that pharmacy or nursing or even dentistry to medicine. While applying for a change of course, you want to make sure that the course you pick is one that's related to the course you are hoping to transfer to. For example, let's say I looked at my JAM score. It was low. I had a score of about 240. That's a bit of an average score. I'll put in a lot of effort into preparing for post TME, knowing that the cutoff mark for that dream course is not something that I can really get. I'll put more effort in preparing for post TME for this second course, and I'll make sure that it's related to my first course choice. I'll change my first course choice. Maybe it was a course like pharmacy and work really hard towards getting it. And then I set the admission to pharmacy. While I'm in pharmacy, I just know that my 100 level grade, they really have to be high. I mean, they have to be my grades have to be exceptionally good. I mean, I will not have a C or a B, if possible, not have a B at all. Then apply for a transfer. Notice that I did not I did not put in a course like chemistry or physics. While they are not bad courses in themselves, but the probability of transferring from physics to medicine is lesser than that of transferring from pharmacy to medicine. This brings me to the last option, which some of you may not want to hear, and that is taking jam again. It's a difficult thing. I know it's very difficult and painful to stay 1 year at home just because your scores were not good enough. But the truth is, there is no time that is lost. There is no time that is truly wasted. Now, it may be painful at first. I remember my first jam, the whole experience. I was given a different course. I had friends who got into medicine, and there was this feeling that was creeping up in my mind. Like, is it that they are better than I am? I mean, we were all read together. We all played. We all laughed. They are in medicine. I'm not in medicine. Indeed, it's painful, but I just have to swallow it up. I mean, it's just one exam. I told you many exams you're going to take later in life. Life itself is an exam. So think of this as a training phase through disappointment. So think of this as a learning phase. I'll help you master disappointment later in life and put in more effort. So you ought to consider taking jam again. And who knows, next year's jam score might just be, might just be crazily high. Might just be like 336, 340. You feel good about yourself. So this is also another option. I think this option is the frequently taken one where we choose to take jam again. So this, you have come to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a lot. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos. And if you are taking jam again, you have to deal with the thing of over familiarity. Alright, I've taken this exam before. There is no need for me to put in so much effort into preparing for it. No, you have to deal with over familiarity. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you going to take jam again, or considering taking an alternative exam, or what is going to be the next course of action for you? Bye.